What's up, everybody? My name is Scott Waters. Welcome to nolifetilmetal. I promised that I was going to show the Gravedigger collection, so that's what I'm going to get into today. I'm going to do CDs and vinyl, kind of mix it up a little bit in this one. However, I'm going to show the vinyl first. I'm not going to necessarily do these in chronological order. For the most part, I'm going to do it in chronological order, but I just have the CDs and the vinyl separated. It's just too much of a pain to mix them together. And I'm not going to show CDs for all the CDs I have, because just if I have it on vinyl, I also have it on CD. Okay, the CDs that I have, I don't necessarily have on vinyl, so that's the difference. But I'm going to get right into this. Gravedigger, German power heavy metal band, formed in 1980, I believe. I'm not even going to try to keep up with the member changes in that band. Just know that Chris Boltendahl is the singer. He also played bass in the band occasionally, but he is the main man behind the band still to this day. Other than that, he is the only original member in the band. Band members have switched out over the years more times than I can even tell you, so I'm not even going to try and keep up with that as I show off these albums. But I am going to show you this one, 1984. This is their very first album on Noise Records. This is a German copy, which features the original track order and tracks. This album is considered a classic. Most people consider this whole thing to be a greatest hits because this whole album is so great. But I mean, standout tracks: Heavy Metal Breakdown, which is one of the tracks they're known most for. Headbanging Man, of course. The ballad Yesterday. We Want to Rock You. Tyrant. Heart Attack. And there's just so many great songs in this album. And again, this was released in '83 on Noise. They released, I believe, that same year was this this EP. 3-song EP, which features Shoot Her Down on the A side, We Want to Rock You, and Storming the Brain. Now, these 3 songs, together with a collection of these songs, are what made up the US pressing of Heavy Metal Breakdown from 1984 or 85, somewhere. It was kind of towards the end. The year on here is 84, but I'm pretty sure this came out later than these two came out in the US. So this is on Megaforce Records, and as you can see, the difference in the cover is it has the United States pictured up in the corner over there. I'm getting a wicked glare, but the difference in the song order is the US version has Storming the Brain, Shoot Her Down, and We Want to Rock You. So it has this entire Shoot Her Down EP on it, and it lacks the track 2,000 Light Years that the original German copy had on it. So it has more songs than the German version has, or the original version, but it has one song that's not on that one. So to me, being a Gravedigger fanatic, they're both essential. This is the one album I just haven't had. I've never owned this until just recently. I managed to grab this one off of Discogs for a decent price. There's a guy on here named Hugh, and this guy Hugh right here really wanted to make sure that everybody thought knew this was his album, because he wrote his name on the front cover, he wrote his name on the back cover, he wrote his name on the inside in the white portion, and he wrote his name on the center ring. I mean, this guy really wanted you to know that this was his record. But Hugh, this is my record, so I don't care if your name's on it or not. It's mine now, and it was very, very inexpensive, so I didn't care about the little bit of writing on it. I didn't want to pay the 30, 40, 50 bucks people were asking for a 3-song EP of songs I already have on the US pressing. So I snagged this one when it came for a good price on Discogs. So there you go. This is also a new addition to my collection. That album was followed up by this album, which is, excuse me, Witch Hunter. And this is, again, is the US version, which is different than the German version. I don't have the German version. I only have this version. This one actually features one extra song, I believe. I don't know if there's any other difference between the two. I think the covers are identical. The US version has this little thing that says US version on the bottom. And again, this is on Megaforce as opposed to Noise. And this has the song Shine On it, which I do not think is on the German version. So, stylistic-wise, more of the same, straightforward, raw German heavy metal. Nobody really sounded like Gravedigger. Nobody sounds like Chris Boltendahl. I mean, his vocals are very gruff, very unique sounding, and I gotta say, for a band that I'm really into, I didn't really get into him as much as I am into it until the 90s. I liked him in the 80s, and I got into those albums in the 80s, but it was the 90s that really turned me on to him, and you'll soon see why. The next album came out in, I believe, 86, and this is a Noise pressing. This is Gravedigger's War Games, and a bit of a stylistic change for the band. I think they were going for, I don't know what they were going for, to tell you the truth. It was still metal, but it was just different. The band's photo, you can tell they were looking a little more, I don't know. I guess that's considered glammy. But you got the leg warmers, and they're wearing makeup, and the striped shirts, the checkered pants. It's obviously they were trying for a more commercial sound, and you can't blame them. I mean, it was '85. Commercial metal was strong, and they were just trying something new. To me, this is probably the weaker of the first 3 albums. I do like it, but I don't like as much as the first 2. And the next album after that actually came out, and they even changed their name to Digger. Now, Digger is definitely a departure from the early raw, heavy Gravedigger sound. This album did feature guitarist Hugh Lewis, who would stick with the band for a long time after they changed their name back to Gravedigger. But this is actually the last full-length album from the band for quite a while. Digger came out in, was it '86? Let's see if there's a year on here somewhere. Yeah, '86. This is on Noise International. This is a U.S. pressing as far as I know. And the sound here is definitely more commercial. I don't really want to call it glam metal, and a lot of people would. It's still metal, but it just has a more commercial appeal to it. It's not quite as raw and heavy as the earlier albums were. Chris Boltendal's raw, aggressive singing is more pared back as well. It's just very different for the band. I do like it. I actually prefer this album over War Games, which I know is blasphemy to most Gravedigger fans, but regardless, it's a decent album. It's 80s metal. It's a little more of a commercial appeal than the other albums, and it was, like I said, their last album that they put out until, let's see, I wrote it down over here so I wouldn't forget, 1993. And with 1993, they came out with, what was that, 7 years? They came out with The Reaper. And now this is the 90s, and this is when I really started getting into the band. A good friend of mine from Germany, Olaf Becker, hooked me up with a CD copy of The Reaper, which I still own, and I was just blown away by how good this is. Again, same guitar player, you got Hugh Lewis on here, but this is a raw, heavy. It's power metal, but it's not like keyboard laced. You know, people think of power metal, they think of like those Euro power metal bands. This is more heavy. When you think of power metal, I think of Metal Church, and that's Heretic, those style bands, and that's what you're going to get with Gravedigger, only a little more raw. Something about German metal that just seems to have that slightly more raw feel, like Creator, you know, and Destruction and Sodom and Accuser. They just have something raw about them, and that's what you're going to get with this. And The Reaper is just a straightforward heavy metal album, so good. It's actually a return to form in my opinion, and probably better than anything they did in the 80s. Doesn't have quite the same anthemic, if that's the right word, feel as the first album had with, you know, Heavy Metal Breakdown and all those kind of songs, but it's just rawer, heavier, great riffing, great guitar solos, and Chris Boltendal's vocals are just so unique. Nobody quite sounds like him, and I was really glad this finally, just, you know, a few years ago, see if there's a year on here when this thing came out on Back on Black. No, I don't see a year on here anywhere. Oh, 2013, finally released on vinyl for the first time, as far as I know. If it was released on vinyl any other time, it wasn't released, you know, in any extended quantity. But yeah, The Reaper. This is a 180-gram version of it. It is colored vinyl. I don't think there's anything special about the colored vinyl, but I'll go ahead and open it up, because it is also a... so there's the gatefold. And then the vinyl looks to be, it's just a lime yellow, translucent yellow color with custom center rings. So anyhow, very cool. I love that album. I play it often. When I get in the mood to hear Gravedigger, my first choices are usually either Heavy Metal Breakdown or The Reaper. Those two albums to me are just equally great. So there you go. Alright, next up. They did release an EP after that, which I have on CD. Again, I'll show some of that stuff later. But then they started getting into this is the Heart of Darkness, and I think Heart of Darkness still features Hugh Lewis on guitars, and it came out in 1995. Now the band's, rather than just writing heavy metal songs and each song being on its own content, of its own unique I don't know, I don't want to say sound, but the older albums, it wasn't, they weren't telling a story, you know what I mean? The whole album wasn't telling a story. It was just each song was written as a song. These albums from here for quite a while longer would all be telling a story of some sort, and you're gonna get that right here with Heart of Darkness. I'm not even gonna try to get into all the different storylines in these concept albums, but just know that they're very well written, musically, lyrically. Again, very raw, very heavy, not thrash. Definitely heavy metal, definitely power metal, and they don't really ever get into thrash. They do get into, you know, some of the heavier, almost speed metal sounds, but that's not the point here. Variety is the key. You know, they have the mid-paced songs, they have the heavier songs, they have some that even go into a more like a hard rock feel, but for the most part, again, German power metal. Again, this is on colored vinyl. I don't know if I want to get into it because I think all these coming forward are all. These days, everything is on colored vinyl, so it's not anything special anymore. People like them. I do too. I don't mind colored vinyl, but frankly, if I'm going to pay extra for colored vinyl, I'll just get the black vinyl. Because it's just not that big a deal to me to have colored vinyl over black vinyl. But I believe this was red. Yeah, it's just a straightforward red vinyl. Again, custom centering. Again, back on black. This is reissued in 2013. So that was reissued the same year as the others. And I believe this next one was too. Another one of my favorites from them, 1996. You know, in the 90s, I kind of call it the musically depressing years, because metalhead by the, I don't know, 91, 92, heavy metal was basically a bad word in the industry and among fans, and nobody liked heavy metal anymore. And oh, you listen to heavy metal? I like new metal. Okay, I was still looking for that old sound, man. I still wanted the heavy songs, I still wanted the guitar solos, I still wanted the screaming vocals, and everybody in the 90s was depressed and staring at their shoes on stage, and you know, playing guitar solos was considered a crime of some sort. You know, if you played a guitar solo, you were just not cool. You had to, you know, almost be a geek or a nerd in the 90s to play music and to be liked, and I was like, I didn't get it, I still don't get it, don't like most of it. I much prefer this kind of sound, and so this is one of those bands in the 90s that just sustained me. You know, I was digging all this stuff that was coming out. Bands like Nevermore and Hammerfall and Gravedigger they were the bands I was consuming in the 90s when everybody else was listening to Nirvana and Soundgarden and Alice in Chains. Like I said, this was my thing. Anyhow, so you got Tunes of War here. This is I believe this is all about a war in Ireland. I should have probably looked all this stuff up, but I'm just going from the hip here. I actually have it on here. Let's see here. Tunes of War. Yeah, Scottish. So it's Gravedigger about the Scottish struggles for independence from England. So that's what this whole album is about. Again, it's on colored vinyl. Again, it's got a gatefold. And again, it's on back on black. And it was the same year, I believe, 2013. So very, very cool. Again, one of my favorite albums. If I was to say which one I like better, Heart of Darkness or Tunes of War, I tend to like Tunes of War a little more. I don't know if it's because it's a better album. I just think maybe it's because I spun it so much when it first came out. Because by this time, I was, you know, in Ultimatum, and we were touring around the country, and I mean around the, you know, wherever we were going to concerts, and I was driving back and forth to practice 3-4 times a week. So I was listening to a lot of music in my cars, and this CD just dominated for such a long time. So anyhow, Tunes of War. Again, great, straightforward heavy metal, power metal, a little bit of speed metal here and there, but not thrash. And then one that many fans would call one of their best, and this is one you're going to hear a lot of songs from, especially the title track live even these days. It's just a great album called Knights of the Cross. And again, Hugh Lewis, Chris Boltondahl, and again, it's on back on black. I believe it was the same year, 2013. Gatefold, colored vinyl. Let me see. Knights of the Cross was. Let's see if I made a note here. Yeah, I didn't make a note on that one. Sorry, but yeah. Anyhow, it's you know, it's basically about middle age, the trials of the Middle Age, and the dominance of Christianity in that time when it was as much political as it was what it's supposed to be. So there you go. I don't know, not much more to say about it. If you like that raw, heavy German sound, they continue to sound the same. but given new storylines and new riffing, and just a great album. This is 1999. Again, when this came out, oh my gosh, I just listened to it over and over and over, and to the point of excess, because I just thought it was so good. This is Excalibur. Obviously, it's about the the whole Knights of the Round Table, Excalibur thing. It is another concept album. It is another gatefold. It is another on Back on Black, which was released in 2013. It is another on colored vinyl. I think Back on Black doesn't make any. I just think they like pick colors out of the air, because the colors of the vinyl never seem to really match what's going on with the album. But this one does, because it's got that whole blue thing, and it's got that kind of midnight steel blue color on the vinyl. So. And since I have it open, here's the gatefold. But yeah, again, just straightforward heavy metal. Very, very good. Power metal. And I can't remember if Lewis was still on this one or not. I believe he did. I think that might have been the last one he was on, was Excalibur, because I believe the next album was called The Gravedigger. Now that album is fantastic as well. Very dark, based on, if I remember correctly, the works of Edgar Allan Poe. I don't have that one on vinyl. I don't even know if it was available on vinyl. I'd love to get it on vinyl. I'll show it to you on CD shortly, so I'm going to shut up about that one and go on to... I'm actually going to skip another album too called Rheingold, another great album that I don't have on vinyl. Let's go right to The Last Supper. Now this album is all about Christianity, and it's kind of looking at it. It's not based on the Bible necessarily. A lot of it's based on what was Christ going through at the time, what was going through his mind, when he was being crucified, and just the passion that he must have had. It's a very cool, interesting album. I don't think that I would call it a biblical album, but it's a very interesting take and look on the life of Christ from a band who's definitely not, Christian band, but a great concept album nonetheless. This is actually a picture disc. And I've had this one for years. This is actually an original release from 2005. I bought this as a brand new album when it came out on CD and vinyl. And the picture disc on this is just beautiful. And the cover artwork is beautiful. Actually, if you haven't noticed, all the cover artwork from the 90s is just fantastic. So there you go. That's there's the angel, the Gravedigger Angel of Death in the back. And you can also see him behind the Christ right there, who looks like eating. He's got the bread and the cup there, but they both they look bloody and nasty and tainted, and I would assume tainted with sin. So anyhow, very, very good album from them. Would definitely rank in my top 5 Gravedigger albums, right up there with Heavy Metal Breakdown and The Reaper. I like this one so much I've got it on several formats. So if I really like an album, chances are I tend to have it on CD and vinyl. That's just the way I am. I like to have the CD to play in the car or even at home, and then the vinyl to play at home. So keep on going, because this is going to be a long video. Another one I bought as a brand new release, Liberty or Death. Gotta say that this particular album, which I believe is, let's see if there are the years on here, so I'm not guessing. Excuse me, 2007. So this skips a few years again. Excuse me, man, I got the burps. So The Last Supper was 2005. Liberty and Death is from 2007. This one, it's still a good album. It's still very much the same sound. You is gone. We have guitar player Manny Schmidt, who would again stay with the band for many years. But the sound definitely changed back with the Gravedigger. Darker, heavier, just darker is probably the word. And this one didn't catch me as much as some of the other ones did. And I'm not saying it's bad. Actually, it's very, very good. It just didn't grab me like some of the other albums did. And it wasn't like instant, wow, play this again. I can't wait to play this again. I can't wait to play this again. This one here, it took me a little more time. And, it was one of those ones I had to let grow on me. But grow on me it did, and it's a great album from them. Liberty or Death. This is on Locomotive Records, and like I said, this is not a repressing, this is the original pressing. Okay. Next after that came Ballad of the Hangman, which, I don't have on vinyl yet, but I do have the album that came after that, Return to the Reaper. This is 2014. Again, this is the original pressing on Napalm Records. It's a strictly limited edition, although they don't see how limited it is. I mean, limited edition of 10,000 copies is not exactly limited, so I don't know how many it was. This album, brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Definitely less of a storyline to this one. If I recall correctly, it's more of the old school of just writing songs and each song have its own meaning, rather than trying to be a storyline run through the whole album. And this particular vinyl version contains a second disc of nothing but demos. The Ballad of Mary, The Last Supper, Yesterday, acoustic version of that, Rebellion, acoustic version of that, Heavy Metal Breakdown, acoustic version of that, which I still think is bizarre. The Curse, acoustic, Rebel of Damnation, a bonus track, The Emperor's Death, a bonus track. So it's a little bit of everything on the extra record here. Yeah, I never understood the whole. Like, you ever heard the bonus or the acoustic version of Balls to the Walls by Accept? That just doesn't make any sense to me. It's Balls to the Walls. It's not supposed to be acoustic, but same thing with Heavy Metal Breakdown. So, but anyhow, regardless, great album, awesome artwork once again. 2 record set. I think it was a 2 CD set as well, and fantastic record from Gravedigger from 2014. They have a brand new album coming out, by the way. It's not out yet. It's called The Living Dead. It comes out this year. And then this is last year. This one made my list for 2017 because it is awesome. This is Healed by Metal. Again, less of a focus on storyline, more of a focus on individual songs. So you're going to get more of almost anthemic-like songs like Healed by Metal, Lawbreaker, Forever Free, Hallelujah, the 10 Commandments of Metal, the 10 Commandments of Metal. And the record has 2 bonus tracks, Kingdom of the Night and Bucket List. Now, this is one of the few I don't have the CD on, so I don't know if those bonus tracks were on the CD or not. I believe this one came with a CD that I played in my car, so I never bought the CD of it, but regardless, again, fantastic artwork. Their artwork has been just spectacular ever since, you know, Reaper. So anyhow, that's all the vinyl. So I'm going to go through the CDs quickly because I know this is taking forever. There's Ballad of the Hangman. Like I said, 2009. This was on Napalm Records. Again, fantastic artwork. Great album. I'm going to keep going though. Oh, I already showed this one, but there's the CD version of Last Supper. Liberty or Death, I already showed that. Here's Rheingold, which again I don't have on vinyl. Now this album is just a little more melodic than some of the other ones to me. And it's still heavy, it's still raw, it's not commercial whatsoever. It's not like they're going for a pop metal sound like they did with Digger. This is just a little more melodic sound. And I really dig it. And again, this is one of those ones that when it came out that year, it stuck in my CD player for a long time. And then here is The Gravedigger, which is the album I was telling you about, which is Edgar Allan Poe based and has just a darker overall sound. And it has a couple different covers. That's the cover on the Digi that I have. But then there's also the regular cover here, which is on the insert. Again, I don't have that one on vinyl. I'm not even sure if it's available on vinyl, so I haven't looked. If anybody knows if it's on vinyl or not, let me know. Masterpieces. This is actually like a greatest hits collection of everything up into, let's see, this came out in 2003. And anyhow, it's 2 disc set. You've got some live tracks on the A side, and you got videos, live video tracks on the A side, and then the second CD is all audio tracks. It's like a best of. I'm gonna throw it up there so you can see it if you can see it. But it's just a career spanning up to that time retrospect of the band. Again, fantastic front cover artwork. Not released on vinyl as far as I know. This one I believe was released on vinyl and I just don't have it. This is the best of the 80s on Noise Records. This was just a collection of songs from the first 3 records. And maybe a song or 2 that were like B-sides or stuff like that. Probably the songs from the Shoot Her Down single. I would almost guarantee those are on here. But yeah, just this is one I wouldn't mind getting on vinyl eventually. 1993, this is the Symphony of Death EP, another one that I just devoured over and over again. Was it 7 songs? Yes. About 6 songs in the intro. But yeah, again, this one This before they really started focusing on the storylines and the concept records, and just more song oriented, but very good. Despite the album cover, this is not symphonic metal; it's just heavy metal. Dark Roots of the Sun EP. So you got live tracks. You've got new versions of Heavy Metal Breakdown, Witch Hunter, and Headbanging Man. This is the Dark of the Sun EP. 25 to Live. This is a live album, a 2-disc live album, career spanning. Awesome live material here. I don't think this one's available on vinyl. If it is, I don't have it. This is Tunes of War. This one was available on DVD and CD. I bought the CD. I don't stress over getting DVDs because, frankly, I get to watch them once, maybe twice, and then I never do again. Whereas CDs, I spin them over and over and over again, in my car, at work, at home. So, Tunes of War, one more time. Tunes of Whackin' live album. This is the Round Table Forever 12-inch, or not 12-inch, single. It's just a mini single. It comes in one of those thin CD sleeves. We've got the Round Table Forever, Excalibur, Mordred Song, and Emerald Eyes. This is the Yesterday EP. This contains Yesterday, The Reaper's Dance, No Quarter, and Yesterday. And then, if I'm not mistaken, this also has, yeah, it's got a live DVD as well, which I can't even, I don't remember. I probably watched it when I first got it. I don't even remember it, to tell you the truth. So, like I said, DVDs, I don't watch them enough. So that's why I don't stress over getting those as I do over the actual albums. This is the Prey single. Contains 4 songs. Overkill, My Blood Will Live Forever, and When the Sun Goes Down, which, yes, is a Thin Lizzy song. So fantastic. And then this is Home at Last EP. This was like 6 songs, a bunch of live tracks, but then it has, of course, the single Home at Last, Rage of the Savage Beast, Metal Will Never Die, Ballad of a Hangman, Excalibur, and Heavy Metal Breakdown. So there's that EP. And, okay, I forgot one. I'm just going to pop it in here real quick. And this is the Clowns Will Rise Again, the box version that came out on Nuclear Blast, was it? Napalm Records. And inside, you can kind of see on the front, it's got a hole cut out where you can see it kind of flops around there a little bit, but there's like a pewter gravedigger figure in there. And it's actually like a necklace kind of thing. Gravedigger Clan. But you can kind of see it's a pewter. And then it comes with the full album that has a few bonus tracks that weren't on the regular version, I guess. Anyhow, that's it. That's my Gravedigger collection. Like, that's not enough. So I hope you appreciated this video. Several people asked for it, so I think the next collection video I'm going to do is maybe Helix. I don't know. I'm trying to decide what I want to do next. There's several bands I want to do, so yeah, I'll probably do Helix next. I don't know. We'll see. I say that because then I'll change my mind tomorrow. So that's it. Thanks for watching. If you like Gravedigger or know anything about them, or if I missed anything or made a mistake, leave a comment below. I always try to return all the comments and chat with people. I love chatting with people. Metal is a passion, so I love talking it. So I appreciate it. Thanks for watching. God bless. Stay strong.